I'm worried because the NBA is going to suspend the whole season. They're going to suspend the playoffs. The NHL is going to suspend the season, suspend the playoffs. And what worries me about that is because they're losing money. The NBA is losing money. The NHL is losing money. Fans are losing the opportunity to watch these professional sports, these college sports. And what bothers me more than ever is that a lot of these organizations might never get the chance. These NCAA teams, these college teams might never get the chance to be in the NCAA tournament again or be in the divisional March Madness tournament.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of teams in this crazy year that either one, like you were saying with Hofstra earlier, made the tournament for the first time in a while. There's a lot of other teams that already played their conference tournaments that are in that position, and they're not going to be able to play now. In this kind of crazy year, there's teams like Baylor and Dayton that are not teams you normally see as top 3 seeds. A lot of the Big East teams like Creighton and Seton Hall, they're usually more middle tier teams, but now they have a chance to be 2 and 3 this year and have a great chance to go far in this tournament. And now they're not going to get the chance to do that. So you definitely have to feel bad for those teams, those seniors, those coaches, and definitely those fans. And again, I think they had a right to be weary of the health of these players for sure, just because of the sweat, the aroma from the locker room, stuff like that. But there is ways to do that. Maybe you could have the fans spread out in the seats, or you could restrict the amount of people that can come in. They did well with restricting the media access already, and with technology, you should be able to compensate for that, even if there's not as much consumption of it. But there are ways to be able to maneuver that, where I didn't think they had to just cancel everything so suddenly like it did. But I guess with Gobert doing it the way it is, him being the first player to come out, now we found out with Mitchell, maybe they're just trying to be ultra cautious.
Well, what worries me right now is this affects the fans. This affects people wanting to get away from their boring lives. Everybody can't wait to watch March Madness. Everybody looks forward to watch March Madness. And now, what do you look forward to right now in March? You don't have any baseball. You don't have playoff hockey. You don't have playoff basketball. You don't have anything right now. And that's the problem right now. What do the sports fans have anything to talk about? There's nothing. What is that? What's next? The UFC is going to completely cancel their fights coming up. The Khabib fight in Ferguson is never going to happen because of the coronavirus. This is a problem right now. Not only with professional sports, but the world right now.
Yeah, there's some international sports as well that have been canceled because of that. And the Olympics were obviously a big talk when it first came out, too. So we'll see how it spreads, because it initially was an international thing. It started in China, and then it spread to Europe first.
And everybody keeps talking about it. And I think this is going to be the talk of the town for sports radio throughout the weeks, because there's nothing going on. Nothing. And I'm going to tell you guys this right now. We are not going to be talking about this coronavirus or any of the stuff that's going on right now in the world. We're going to talk sports. We're going to get down and dirty of what's going on, where we think some of these free agents are going to go in the NFL. We're going to talk about what's going to go on in the NFL draft, where we think some of these players are going to go. We're not going to get into this where everybody's going to be discussing and have nothing to talk about when it comes to sports, because that's not why we're here. We're here to entertain people. But it disgusts me right now when I see where everything is going in the world, where everything is going, and sports right now getting tossed around like it's a piece of garbage. You have the NCAA tournament being canceled. You don't even know if we're going to have an NHL playoff. We don't even know if we're going to have an NBA playoff. We don't even know when the MLB season is going to start. Some people are saying it's not going to start until May.
And the other thing that's forgotten about with the NCAA tournament is the NCAA also said that all winter and spring's tournaments and sports are canceled until further notice too. So that means there would be the spring sports, which normally have their championships in June, is now canceled. So everything would have to be pushed then to probably July for that.
I don't know why anybody would be happy right now when you look at the sports world as a whole and you see where the sports world is heading, where you can't be excited. You have nothing to talk about. And you wonder, how long is this coronavirus is going to be here and take control of everything that's going on in the world? The stock market is down right now. People are going out and screaming for food. They're going out and trying to buy as much toilet paper as they can get because they want to lock themselves in the house and wipe their own asses. And right now, that's not even the talk of the town. Here's what we're talking about. We're talking about this virus taking over the world, and the next thing we're going to be talking about, because there's nothing we're going to be able to talk about, is the Kardashian sisters.
Oh, God.
Because that's the way the world works. Media is taking this to a whole nother level. I understand this is a deadly virus. It is. So is the flu. So is AIDS. Nobody talks about how many people die from AIDS every single day. I mean, obviously, there's not 500,000 people, but there's 38 people that have died here in the United States so far from this disease. Why is this taking over the world in sports? I understand the commissioners of each league are trying to protect their players.
Well, sports arena and where they play, the locker room, stuff like that. It's easy to catch those kinds of aromas if one player has it. But again, there's
Do you know what this disease does to you?
Do I know?
Do you know what it does to you?
No.
Okay, what it does to you is it pretty much clogs up your lungs that you can't breathe from your lungs.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
The only people that will probably die from this disease or this, whatever they call it, virus, bacteria, the only people that will die from this is people that have lung problems, weak immune systems, old, over a certain age, like 65, 70, when their immune systems die, younger children that have weak immune systems. Guys like me and you, we're not going to die from this disease. Right. Those athletes, the NBA players, the NCAA young basketball players, they're not going to die from this disease.
Right, especially the NCAA players, which are all young. The oldest one would be probably, 23 at most, if it's a fifth-year senior. So that was especially bizarre. And again, there are other ways, I think, to precaution it, really. Because I can understand because it's an arena, because it's a stadium, if you're an outdoor sport, and then the locker rooms are going to have those stenches, those aromas, and again, just the sweat of everybody. But again, there are other ways to deal with it. I'm just surprised they took it this suddenly all at once just because of one guy in Rudy Gobert, who is an international player too. So you wonder.
He's a great player.
He is a great player.
So is Donovan Mitchell.
Right. My point is, it's an international player. It started as an international disease. You wonder if it's just that, or if it's again more American cases. Because there have been 38 American cases, so they have every right to be worried. But again, it's
so hold on.
Yeah.
38 cases, 38 people passed away. How many people have come down with this disease so far here in the United States?
I think it's like
by the thousands.
Yeah.
By the thousands.
Right.
And only 38 people have died from this. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying it's a catastrophe, and I'm not taking away for all those families that lost their loved ones. I'm not taking that away at all. So don't quote me on this that I'm trying to put down the virus or anybody that's passed away from this disease. Or this virus. Right. But what bothers me right now is that right now, March Madness, which makes millions and millions of dollars, these players that are the next superstars in the NBA, and that everybody can't wait for March Madness to come out, to bet, to play your bracket, to watch these young players take their teams to higher heights, to the Final Four, to the Elite Eight, to the Sweet 16. We're never going to see it. This is the first time since 1939 we're not going to see March Madness. And in that time, there wasn't March Madness. There were 4 teams that made it, or 6 teams that made it.
Yeah, something like that.
And they go all the way to the tournament, and they go all the way to the championship game. Since the 70s, this March Madness, the way this bracket is brought to the world, everybody, it's sustainable for the fan to watch and to really keep up with.
There's different ways people do it, too. They have the office pools. You have
now, what are we looking forward to?
Right.
This offseason. What are we looking forward to? We might not have an NBA playoff. You have all these teams that are fighting for that number 1 pick. If the season is over right now, Golden State has the best chance of winning it. Is that fair to the other teams that have been bad all season long? Is it fair to them that Golden State has the chance to get the number 1 pick when there's about 17, 18 games left? Is it fair to those teams? Not at all.
And with Steph Curry back, too. That could have made a difference, too.
Is it fair to them? How about the NHL? How about some of the teams that are in a race right now? The Rangers being one of them. 1 point out of the playoffs.
Oh,
the Islanders.
Races, yeah.
The Islanders, too. 1 point out of a playoff spot. Now, if the season were to end now, those teams are not making the playoffs. Because if they're taking away the rest of the season just going for the playoffs, all the teams that are in it right now are not included, the Rangers and the Islanders. because they couldn't finish their last 16, 17 games. Is this bad? Yeah, it's bad. It's bad for the business world. Right now, small businesses are losing money. I guarantee some small businesses are going to be completely kaput because of this.
Unless you're online, yeah, that's going to be trouble.
And even these big organizations like basketball, like the NBA, like the NHL, and the NCAA, they're losing millions upon millions upon millions of dollars.
And the NCAA especially, because they're losing, I think, 6 or 7 different sports, too. It's not just the basketball. Obviously, basketball's the biggest one, but they're losing all their sports all at once, winter and spring, that are going to lose out on these tournaments, too. And for the spring sports, their entire seasons, practically. Baseball just started in softball, but that's really it.
This coronavirus is not only hitting us, it's going to hit organizations, it's going to hit companies, it's going to hit everything. And anybody that thinks that this is a good thing and think the thought that, oh, I'm away from school, I could sit home and watch movies all day. Here's the problem. You're stuck here. You're stuck at your house. You're stuck at your church. You can't go to school. You can't finish school. Look at all these schools that are going to be held back. They're not going to be finishing school until maybe June. Just think about it. You have to take regencies. If you're in college right now trying to graduate from college, you got to take your boards. You got to take your elective finals.
Right.
What are these colleges going to do? I don't want to hear this internet crap thing that they're doing right now, these colleges are doing right now, because it's not the same thing on going to class and learning from the teachers.
Right, especially if it's something that's not designed to be an online class either, because there are specified online classes, but some of them have to be just so suddenly. And if you're not in college, you're in high school or in elementary school, yeah, you're probably not ending until July.
How could this not bother you guys? And we're a sports radio show. I'm not only talking about sports. This affects us completely in our lives. This affects us completely. How about this? If you work in a hospital, you have to go into a hospital every single time you come in contact with somebody. You got to wash your hands. Think of the bacteria and think of the dirt that you're not picking up with your hands. Right. And every time you touch a wall, you touch a knob, you touch a toilet seat, you got to wash your damn hands. Well, you got to wash your hands touching a toilet seat, obviously.
Yeah.
But as a fan, as a sports fan, this is not fun. This is not something that I'm looking forward to. And even as a radio show host, where we're here to entertain you guys and talk sports with you. What are we going to be talking about? Golf? Yeah. Tennis?
It's golf, the XFL, and NASCAR are the only 3 sports that haven't done anything yet.
This is a bad situation, and I understand what Trump is doing, and I'm not going to talk politics because this is a sports radio show. I'm not getting into politics. I understand the whole situation right now. They don't want you to travel. They don't want you to drive certain places if you don't need to drive, or fly certain places if you don't need to fly. But that's not going to stop this virus. It's not.
You know what?
Hiding in your house is not going to stop this virus, because if you have it and you don't know, how about this? If you're a carrier and I don't know you're carrying, if I get it, anybody that walks into this house is going to get it.
And you have a case to be cautious just in public anyway, or even within your own house if you live with a bunch of roommates or something like that. You could be cautious with something like that. But again, public overreaction, the way it's been, it seems like we're going to lose power forever. It seems like something like that is going to happen, where it seems like it's going to be a disaster. And again, for some people it could be if you have personal experiences with it. But at the same time, it isn't something where you're going to be getting it just on everybody, because it's still
Spit it out, Junior. Spit it out.
It's only going to be a small sample of the population, of the world population, and from a regional population. And again, I think what they were doing, like you were saying with the hospitals, what they're doing with everyone washing their hands, Purell, whatever they want to use,
it doesn't work.
They started that with the sports too. The Big Ten tournament was having it. The SEC tournament was having it.
Purell does not work.
Okay.
I work in a hospital. Purell is not going to stop the coronavirus. Just so all you guys know.
All right.
The Purell, that hand sanitizer, is not going to stop you from getting the coronavirus. So if you want to stop the coronavirus, this is what you need to do. You need to go put your hands under the sink, make sure you get some dial-out bacteria soap, and wash your hands for 20 seconds.
Okay, but that wasn't my point. My point was...
What is your point? Get to your point.
Those tournaments have still been trying to be aware of it and make it so these athletes and these fans can stay clean. So I'm surprised it only took one day for them to just all of a sudden revert to the other extreme and ban everything.